And now I'm here with Amber Ryan. She plays the character of Jerry Woods, a little bit of a hardliner, been there, done that sort of character, but I'm going to let her tell you in her own words. Tell me a little bit about Jerry Woods.
Jerry Woods is a very butch lesbian who has found God, become a Christian, and she's a neighbor who is witnessing the two main characters falling in love and tries to kind of get in there and say, you don't want to do this. You got to find God, you got to do what's right. So that's kind of where she's coming from.
All right, I've seen the film and she doesn't look like this in the film. I think she did this on purpose. All right, let me ask you, I'm impressed. Obviously this was a little out of the box. How'd you go about preparing for a film like this?
This is a character like this, to do a transformation like this is the dream of every actor, to have a role like this. We did a lot of rehearsals with Natara, the director, and I spent several days in character out and about. I went to doctor's appointments, I kind of went about my everyday life as Jerry Woods. And just really trying to change my mannerisms, how I talk, how I walk. It was complete transformation.
On that note, let me ask you something. I want to know, what is it you took away the most in that time, in real life, not in the film, as being a butch lesbian in society? What did you take away? Were you treated a little different? Were you perceived a little different? What's the one thing you took most away from that experience?
Absolutely. I did notice I was treated differently, I was looked at differently. It was a very interesting experience to go through that and see how people are treated and how inappropriate that is.
And maybe that might give you a little insight into some of her born-again Christian behavior, like some of that behavior. That's interesting. Now, this is some pretty heavy subject matter. I've said this before to some of the other actors and actresses here. 21 days is a tight shoot. This is some deep stuff to get into. Did you have trouble getting out? Did you have trouble moving away from that character when you're done in the day?
Well, I think that anytime you're developing a character like that, yeah, you take that on. And it did take a little bit, at the end of the day I would change my clothes and, kind of try to go back to being me before I went home to my family. So it did take a little bit of conscious effort to go back to being Amber.
That was my next question. Your family, this is, as a married, heterosexual woman playing this role, how did this affect when you came home and kind of coming out of that very on the soapbox role back to just being Amber, just Amber with your family?
My husband, one night I came home and I hadn't had time to kind of become Amber again, and he kind of just looked at me and walked away, and he knew that was happening, but to see it was a little bit of an adjustment for him. So yeah, it did affect a little bit. I think he was a little bit nervous. He certainly was comforting and encouraging of the whole process. But yeah, it's got to be weird to see your wife,
a whole person in your home. Now, I've asked this of pretty much everybody, and I'm curious to know from your perspective. From the independent film part, what was your favorite or best thing you took away from the independent film process as opposed to some of the larger budget or theater or things in your past repertoire or improv like you've done? What was the best thing you feel about the independent film process?
My favorite experience through this whole film was working with Natara. She really took the time to work with each of the actors before we got on set in rehearsals and developing the character. For me, that was huge. It could have been nightmarish on set if we hadn't taken that time beforehand. And I think because we were so time crunched, we had to take that time, and Natara was very willing to do that.
That's great. That's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
This is Amber, everybody. She plays Jerry Woods, and let me tell you, there is a transformation you're going to witness here tonight. You can take a look on Running on Empty. Fantastic job, really.
Thank you.
Great job. We'll see you tonight.